Right, good afternoon, wonderful people of Peekskill. My name is Rainey. I'm the proud mayor of the great city of Peekskill, New York, and today is June 1st, 2021. I am joined by our awesome city manager, Mr. Andy Stewart. Andy, good afternoon, my friend.
Hi, Andre. How are you? It's good to be with you today.
Yes, good to be with you too, man. I'm doing pretty well, especially in the times that we're in. I'm doing absolutely fantastic. So I'm happy to be here again to give you all another weekly update as we've been doing every week since the beginning of the pandemic, and even as the pandemic is hopefully coming to an end, we're still giving you weekly updates just to keep you informed. I hope my lighting is pretty good.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
anyway, you were pretty good over there. Can you see me clearly?
Yep, I can see you clearly. Looks
All
good.
right, all right, good. So I want to start as we always start off with the numbers, where we are with the COVID
Okay,
numbers and
okay,
how we're doing.
Mayor. So the numbers are trending in the right direction.
Okay.
The city as of May 30th, this is from the Westchester County data dashboard, which you can reach on the city's Facebook page. Just click over to it. On May 30th, there were 15 active cases in the city. That's cases that are within the last 2 weeks.
Wee.
And that's coming down substantially over the last few weeks. There were 32 cases 2 weeks ago, and the numbers were a little higher before that. So we're coming down, which is great to see, Mayor. It's really, really satisfying to see that happening. I want to mention
Absolutely.
also that I don't know, it almost seems like a glitch. The numbers for the percentage of our population that has become vaccinated have just leapt up. It was under 40% a week or so ago. And now we're up at 47.2%,
Go
which is
Peekskill.
obviously, and to be honest with you and to speak the truth, it's not a great number compared to some other zip codes and municipalities out there.
Yeah.
We're pulling ahead. I mean, I'm a little satisfied to see us pull ahead a little bit of a couple of zip codes in Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, and Yonkers. But we are way behind White Plains and some other places as far as percentage of the population vaccinated. So I think, I hope the county is really pushing that, and everybody's health providers are getting the message out of how important vaccination can be for people's health.
There you go. Absolutely. I actually just went and got tested again yesterday. I've gotten used to the whole process now being
Mhm.
tested COVID. It was so uncomfortable. But I thank the community. Thank you all for taking time out of your days to get tested. And for those of you who are getting vaccinated, thank you as well. It's been a challenging year, but we're finally looking at the new norm, as they're calling it now. We're getting used to the new norm.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where we're starting to see some real changes in social life. I know that I was with my family this weekend and we went out to eat, and that was very nice. I had some people in our house, and it was great. We got people vaccinated and comfortable together. I wanted
Beautiful.
to say that a real marker for this is the anticipated opening of our senior nutrition program later this month on June 23rd. Our director, Jonathan Zamora, has put out information about that. We might want to have him actually on our little video.
We should bring him back. Yeah,
Okay.
Jonathan, we should bring him
Yeah,
back just to
talk
give him
about
a
that, because if there's one place we want to take a lot of care, it's with seniors and bringing
absolutely.
them into the congregate meal setting, which is something they all really want, is something got to do just right. And Jonathan and his team is on that, and they're not going to be offering busing because busing brings a whole host of hazards.
Yeah,
But they are going to be bringing people in and setting capacity limits and people wearing their masks and whatnot when they're not eating. So it's very heartening to see that change.
absolutely. Yeah, and for those who are watching out there, we're looking for manager, the police chief, and Councilwoman Riley as the current liaison. We meet with the seniors once every month. And today is actually the actual meeting that we have with our seniors, and we usually don't meet in the months of July and August unless there's an emergency or just something that the seniors would like to tell us, because usually the seniors go on their own vacations during the summertime. So, but since we've been doing everything virtually and by the phone, we may still have it in July and August. But if anyone is interested in joining one of these, joining these boards, learning more about what the actual board does and how the actual board comes up with recommendations for the city or for the city manager, or what the board would like to see happen in the city of Peekskill going forward, feel free to reach out to myself, Councilwoman Patricia Riley, or the city manager to join the.
Yeah, no, the city's always recruiting volunteers for boards and commissions. I like to point out that there's almost as many people volunteering on those boards and commissions as there are people who actually work
Staff.
in the city staff. It just goes to show how important community partnership is, whether it's the Parks and Activities, Human Relations Commission, across the board, land use boards, and others.
Right.
Really important. These roles are just super important for the functioning of this small city.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's great. So
Yeah.
let's talk about this. So speaking of the new norm, we actually held our annual Memorial Day event yesterday. I know many of the our elected official colleagues in government were at the Peekskill ceremony. There were ceremonies throughout the entire Westchester County yesterday. So it was good to see that we were able to hold that here in Peekskill as well as many other municipalities.
Yeah, I want to credit
To all of our
John
veterans.
Donahue with the Captain Oliver C. Chase Jr. Post 274 in Peekskill. Really organized the agenda for Memorial Day. And we had pastors from Mount Olivet and Assumption Church, the color guards from the police department, the laying of the wreath, the listing of the names of people who gave their lives for the country.
Absolutely.
It's always very moving. And I know they wanted to have a bigger event, but because of the COVID times we're in, they kept it kind of small. But they're looking forward to involving more students next year.
Beautiful. Absolutely. So let's talk. As many of you know, we gave you an update last week on our Parks and Recreation about the pool reopening, and some of the new program, or some of the programming getting back to or as close to normal as possible. But that begins now, so we will see a lot of people at our local pool swimming. There are time frames for people, so if you're interested in learning more about that, make sure you check out the City Parks and Recreation link and our city website to get more info on the
Yeah,
pool.
they have the recreation superintendent Kathy and her staff have done a great job of planning for reopening. It's COVID safe. The scheduling is a little different. The registration is a little different. There's a little downtime between sessions so they can clean. And I think they've done a great job. I know they opened over the weekend. I know it wasn't a real hot weekend, so maybe there wasn't a big crowd over there. But the pool's open, and that's exciting. And it's beautiful. And it's a great place to cool off. So people should take advantage of that. It's a wonderful resource.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the marijuana legalization survey. I know you have some information on
Yeah,
that.
let's talk about that, Mayor. So marijuana, as you know, the state of New York has legalized recreational marijuana use, and that means that people can walk around town smoking marijuana. There's the laws that are developing are provide for the city council to decide whether or not they want to have retail sales of marijuana and kind of like consumption sites, like a lounge type place. Like the city can actually decide whether to permit that or not. Most places are, some places are not. And we have a survey. It's going to be an online survey going out to the community on request of the city council to get input and information about how people are seeing this question. Do you want to see retail marijuana sales in the city? And do you want to see a sort of consumption sites as far as like an indoor location, a bar or lounge that's dedicated to smoking? So those are two questions that the city council wanted public opinion about. And we're actually happy we got a nice little team working out of our consultant Events to Remember and Charisse and her team. And they put together an online survey. It's going to hit the streets soon. People can find that on our Facebook page, the city's website, and also there'll be paper copies if you want to step into City Hall, fill one out and drop it off at the clerk's office. So we're hoping to have a good response on that and get some information flowing with the community. There's pros and cons, Mayor, as you're aware. The con side is it may be sort of more exposure for people to use marijuana, and that could lead to problems in their lives. On the positive side, the decriminalization, I think, has a huge impact. We don't need people going to jail over marijuana, small amounts. And also there's a tax revenue side to this equation too, which could be beneficial to the city.
Yeah, I think the tax revenue side is what has people so excited about it more than anything. And the decriminalization piece just puts the community at a step forward. I do want to just make sure people are fully aware that when the how long is the survey? I know we spoke about this with the council. How long is the survey going to be out? Because
Yeah, it'll be out for several weeks, so we'll have plenty of time to push that.
okay.
And we could keep it open for as long as we want to. Probably what'll happen is it'll get a little bit of a run up in the first week or so, and then it'll dwindle off, and then we'll promote it some more.
Yeah.
Keep it open for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I would definitely say a couple of weeks. I mean, everything is virtual now, so more people are paying attention to what's happening online. So, I don't think that many people will have at least will be able to say that they weren't aware once we get the word out there. And again, I haven't said this in a long time, but I do encourage people to please, 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 for city information, for city structure, for city boards, commissions, or whatever the city has going on, city policies and agendas, check the city website. I mean, you can go on social media. We're thankful for social media because everything is transferred over to social media, but everything comes from the city website to social media. So if you're interested in what's going on in the city and you don't have access to a television where you can watch the city government channel or city's weekly updates, check the city website. That's where all of the information that you find on social media and everywhere else is coming from. So I encourage people, especially as we start doing these surveys. And I know a lot of people are looking for surveys with the police task force reform board. People look for surveys with the Human Relations Commission, and now they're going to be looking for surveys with the legalization of marijuana. So please, people, check the City of Peekskill website, cityofpeekskill.com as often as you can, and share with your colleagues so they can have the information as well.
Just want to note, Mayor, also, we put a lot of information out over Facebook, which is basically event-based or kind of short turnaround and reminders. And that's a good place to go for information as well.
Absolutely. Yep. So check out the city Facebook page, city website, and if you have access to television, the city government channel. So, but thank you. I'm looking forward to that survey getting out there, Andy. I can't wait to see the community. But again, I know the revenue, the decriminalization is a major step forward, major leap forward, I would say, for every community. And I definitely look forward to hopefully seeing the revenue that brings to the city of Peekskill.
Yeah, and on that, Mayor, also, just so you know, we talked about this a bit with the city council. When we have our meeting on the 7th, Monday the 7th, one of the topics we're looking at by the request of the city council is actually amending a couple of city codes that mention marijuana in a way that's no longer appropriate, given that recreational marijuana is legal now. So the loitering law references marijuana, something related to taxi regulation references it. And so as we move into legalization, we need to look at our local laws and make sure that they're lined up with what the state law is saying as well.
Absolutely.
We'll
That's
do
one
that.
good thing about government is we can make changes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Um,
This has a lot of authority to do that.
Great. So enough marijuana talk. I want to talk about something else. So, ladies and gentlemen, the high school graduation is June 24th this year. So, I'm looking forward to participating, and I'm looking forward to the students who are graduating after going through the most challenging year I think any of us have faced in 100 years. So, um, looking forward to that. And the parade is also coming up as well. I'm going to encourage the family and friends and all of the people of Peekskill to make sure we get out there and support the parade for the graduating class of 2021.
By the way, Mayor, we do have a couple people chiming in on Facebook. I think the marijuana question is probably going to get a fair amount of traction. One question is basically Mr. Landers basically saying no to sales and lounges. So there's an opinion right there.
That's good. Well, Mr. Landers, thank you for your opinion, but make sure that when that survey gets out there, you put your name in that survey. Because I mean, it's great to tell us now how you feel, but we want to see the survey because that's what's going to really help us determine what the city of Peekskill wants. But thank you sincerely for being one of the first, Mr. Landers, to voice your opinion.
Ms. Johansson is basically saying, well, if there's open burn for marijuana, why can't we walk around with a bottle of beer? You know,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if the state allows people to walk around with a bottle of beer. I think, as Andy mentioned earlier, this is a state regulation that's being changed. So I don't know if we even have the authority to say you can walk around with a Jack Daniels or a beer or something.
We do actually have a container law in the city. And it's not an unreasonable question. The state has absolutely allowed people to walk around smoking marijuana. And that's something that the city, has to allow. One thing that we do want to bring up, actually, in the city council, we're talking about this, is whether or not there should be smoking in parks and playgrounds. And right now, even for cigarettes, there's no prohibition on that. And some folks are saying, well, maybe this is one place where the city should actually create a restriction on smoking. It would apply to cigarettes as well as marijuana, in and around a playground. Maybe that makes sense. We're actually going to talk about that.
I actually think it does make sense, to have certain areas where you should not smoke, especially around kids. I don't want my kids to be in a playground and everybody smoking weed. That's for sure. So maybe that's something that I hope that question is actually on the survey too, but I really would think
that's actually, we're going to take that up maybe as a separate question. We wanted to keep the survey simple, just focused on the dispensaries and the lounges question. Because that's something that we need to figure out.
We can get all to the weed marijuana questions and just throw this one last thing in there. The Juneteenth celebration is going to be this year at the Pew Park at 1 p.m., hosted by our Juneteenth committee, of course, and our Peekskill City Youth Borough and our partners. So if you are available, please come out and celebrate with us at June 19th at the Pew Park at 1 p.m. And I know there's some confusion on Facebook about the park. It is the Pew Park. And so if you see anybody say the riverfront, let them know it is the Pew Park. The event will be held at the Pew Park, June
Mhm.
19th at 1 p.m. All right. So that's it. So what are the questions, Andy?
Well, we got a couple, let me just look. Well, one, Mr. Hanson, when is City Hall open? City Hall's been open. We keep saying this over and over again. We're all here. People are working hard.
Yeah.
And we actually installed an intercom by the front door so people can poke the number in for the office they need and get direct contact. And there's a lot of appointments and so on. And we do have an attendant in the lobby who opens the door for folks and handles questions. So our customer service has actually gone up. But the door is still locked and we still require masks when we let people in, just so you know. And there's a temperature monitor
Machine as soon as you
going
walk
on
in,
there.
as well as sanitizer as soon as you walk in. So
So we're trying to keep people safe. So
yeah.
City Hall's open,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that the door is unlocked. It means that you need to hit the button so that we don't have a pileup of people coming through.
Yeah. And that also encourages people to set up an appointment. It's a lot better if you want to come to City Hall for a meeting that you set up an appointment. You call the department that you need to speak to and just let them know that you want to come in for whether it's to submit papers or fill out a form or get information, whatever it is that you want. If you set up an appointment, the process is so much quicker.
I wanted to answer a couple other questions. Will the results of the survey be made public? Of course, that's the whole point. Absolutely. Can business owners fill out the survey? Of course, their city, they're here, they work here, they're city residents or their own businesses, they could fill it out.
That's a good question, actually. Is there a way to make sure that, or I guess in the survey, can a person enter their address or because
it's an anonymous survey, but it will only allow one response per email address.
okay,
Just
good, that's fair enough.
to try to keep it straight. So we hope that people will just, share that survey around and we'll get as many responses as we can. And
Good.
tell us something.
Good.
So there's a couple other comments here related to that. They're appreciated. Let's see. They want to know, Ingrid Bergman wants to know whether the citywide survey on police reform and reimagination, a community survey of that type hasn't been designed yet. I know that the Human Relations Commission and other folks on the former task force are looking into that. But I don't have a date for it to be released. There was different concepts kind of being discussed.
Yep.
So there's work to do on that. And the chief and I meet weekly on police reform. A number of the recommendations are already in progress. We're looking forward to doing an update to the city council and the Human Relations Commission on that soon.
Absolutely.
I wanted to mention just on that, it was nice to see an announcement from County Executive Latimer recently saying the county is actually going to fund local police to have interpreter services, which is one of the things that was on our list that our task force said, hey, anybody should be able to walk into that police lobby and be able to get interpretation services if they don't speak English as their first language. And so the county is actually supporting that. And that's good to see.
Yes. Step towards change.
These little things can make a big difference in how someone feels comfortable communicating with the police and
absolutely
getting those services. So
absolutely.
So yeah, I just want to mention that. I also want to mention people should be on the lookout for the milkweed growing on the riverfront. There's a real effort there by volunteers to promote these plant species, the monarch butterflies. Pollinators come through. And we've got some signs up telling people about where it is. If you walk on that sidewalk over towards Peekskill Landing, you'll see some signs about the milkweed garden. So please pay attention to that and help us celebrate and promote the biodiversity of the riverfront. On June 13th, there's actually going to be a tour, and this is on the City Waste Facebook page as well, where people can find out more about these pollinator gardens and anybody with any kind of yard or anything, where they could plant something can help promote the biodiversity of the environment.
Yeah. So, yeah, how are we looking on questions? Any more or?
Well, it's hard to track all of them, but
give me two. Give me two more.
Yeah, we got somebody supporting a smoking ban in parks and playgrounds. I think that's probably going to be something people are going to want to see. and they want to see as much access to City Hall as possible. Uh, you know, where one of the things that's going to happen sooner or later is the city council will start meeting in person again. The city
I can't wait.
council.
I missed. I can't. I have to be honest, Andy. I missed that part of the Monday nights. I miss being in the meetings, even if there are people who are upset about something. I miss being at the city hall council meetings.
Yeah, so it's
I
a
can't wait.
topic that I think the city council will be talking about. I'm actually putting together a little memo on how in-person meetings could take place and what the options are to do it as safely as possible. And so
Yeah.
that's a topic that, the governor's emergency order suspending the open meetings law is still in force and will be for some time. But the city council can talk about having in-person meetings.
Yeah.
And we
Well, I
could,
mean, listen, I'm safety is more important than anything. So, as people are getting vaccinated and feeling more comfortable, I'm definitely open to the in-person meetings. But I wouldn't fight against safety measures.
yeah, no, it
So,
has to be balanced for
all
sure.
right. Well, if
Just
I,
like our council chambers room, when you do 6 foot distancing, only about 24 people can sit there. So it's not a very satisfying option. The firehouse, we can get up over 100, but the problem with that is we can't broadcast on TV from there. So this is actually something I'd like to hear people tell us about. How important is that TV versus being able to get more people in the room? Because I think that's the trade-off that we're looking at.
yeah, I don't know. I think the TV aspect of it, you get to watch it. A lot of our seniors aren't gonna. I mean, I don't even think it's even fair to us to even try to ask seniors to, uh, come to these meetings in person, knowing that they're more vulnerable
Mhm.
to the possibilities of catching the virus. So I think that and then taking away from them just so 7 people could show up, I don't think it makes sense. But again, it's something we'll talk about at the council.
Yep. Yeah, we got to figure that one out. But there's definitely a trade-off there.
Yep. All right.
So
Well,
thank you
any
so
more
much,
questions
Mayor.
you got there? You want to share with me, Andy? I know you said there's a lot going in. So
Well, there's another one saying, when will low-income housing be considered to be built since there hasn't been since the early 1970s? Is there future development? I know you can speak to a number of affordable housing projects that are in the works right now.
But
Um,
but the person asking about new low income housing.
the
So
low income.
I know we've been talking a lot about affordable housing. I don't know if we've been having discussions about low income housing, but I would encourage if there are developers out there, or if that person knows any developers out there that's looking to build low income housing, if we have the space and land for it, I'm sure it's a conversation this council would love to have. I don't think that myself or the council can actually produce it. But if there's developers that are out there looking for a place to bring low income housing, or even a developer looking out there looking to revitalize low income housing that we already have,
Mhm.
we're always open to the discussions. But as far as the council developing low income housing or any type of housing, that doesn't really come from the council. So I would definitely encourage you, whoever sent the comment, or anyone out there interested in developing new housing in Peekskill, low income, affordable, mixed rate, market rate, anything. You come to the council, we discuss it, and we see if it's going to benefit the city and how, and we take it from there.
Yeah, just on that, as you know, Mayor, City Council's been reviewing affordable housing policy pretty extensively, and we had a presentation last meeting about how market rate developments could be required to provide a certain percentage for affordable. We also know that, for example, the Peekskill Housing Authority has put in for a grant to
Yes.
improve their facilities. I think every single bathroom in Dunbar or something like that. There's a
Yeah.
lot of upgrades that are needed, and so they put in for external funding for that, which is great. 645 Main Street development is going to have affordable units in it. The development plan for down on Lower South Street is an affordable development. So there's a lot of units which are basically in the affordable category, which are in the pipeline.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Which is good to
So
see.
yeah. So Andy, it's been about almost 25
Yeah,
minutes.
thank
So
you.
are we good over there?
I think we're good. I think we should wrap it up, Mayor. Thanks so much. It's great
No,
talking to you.
thank you so much. I must say I do appreciate these weekly updates. It's a good portion of my day. So
It's
to
good to
everyone out there watching and tuning in Facebook world, and in TV world, thank you sincerely for tuning in. And we look forward to seeing you again, same time next week. So have a safe and happy week. And for those of you who enjoyed the holiday yesterday, have a safe, fun, and short week. But Andy, I'll be talking to you later on this afternoon, my friend.
All right. Take care. Bye bye
All
now.
right.